In the last video, we created some CSS rules. In this video, I'd like to take just a moment and look at the rule just a little bit more. Now, in this rule, we have, and this is part of the anatomy of a CSS rule, we have a selector. A selector could look like that, which is selecting an HTML tag. A selector could look like this, which is selecting something that has a CSS class. A selector could look like this, which is selecting something in your HTML document that has an ID. And there's more deviations, but these are all these types of selectors. They're all selectors. They just select different things. So I am selecting the body tag in my HTML document and I'm modifying it. Inside of my CSS rule, I have declarations. So this is a declaration, this is a declaration, this is a declaration. Okay, and all of these together make up a declaration block, and this is the CSS selector, and that makes a rule, a CSS rule. Another thing that was discussed a little bit in your reading was that there's different types of style sheets, and he mentions, the author mentions that you have inline, embedded, and linked style sheets, but you have three other types of style sheets that are called the author style sheet, the user style sheet, and the browser style sheet. So when he talks about linked style sheets, embedded style sheets, and inline style sheets, those are all types of author style sheets. So author style sheets are something that you author, that you, the web designer, actually author. And then there is a user style sheet, and that's when someone comes along, a user looking at your website, and actually makes modifications to the style sheet on their device. Now, it affects nobody else in the entire world. This is something that only they do. Maybe they need their font a certain size or certain color, or hyperlinks, they want a certain color. Well, people who have those needs know how to modify to make their browser do that on all websites. So a user style sheet is something that a user, a website visitor will actually create. The website visitor will look at a website and say, okay, I want all links to be black or underlined or whatever. So they're modifying the browser style sheet themselves. So that's something that the user does, and it takes precedence over anything you, the designer, can do. And then there's the browser style sheet. So all browsers come with a default style sheet. So you'll hear it called browser style sheet, you'll hear it called default style sheet. And again, this is something you the author cannot modify. These are default styles. So if I don't have this body style sheet in here, I just delete it, and we look at this. The way this font looks, the way the font, by look I mean color and size and face, and the background color of the document, all of that has to do with the browser style sheet. So the browser comes with predefined styles. This is how a paragraph will look. This is the line height a paragraph will have. This is the background color. Everything, this is what happens when a picture is a hyperlink as well. We get that blue border. That's part of the browser style sheet. Now, as an author, creating either an inline, embedded, or a linked style sheet, as an author working with one of those, you get to override the browser style sheet. So it goes browser style sheet, that's the default style sheet. That's the way the browser is going to style stuff if there's no style sheet. Then there's the author style sheet, and you've got those three kinds. The linked one, the way your reading refers to one type of author style sheet is linked. I call that an external style sheet. Linked or external, same thing. You'll hear it called the same thing. You'll hear those terms used interchangeably. That's the kind that I want you to create, and that this is a linked style sheet. What we did in that last video, we created a linked or external style sheet. So it is a file that your web page is actually calling in, like right here. It's calling in. It's saying, "Hello, pull in the styles that are in this file." Okay, that's the kind of style sheet I want you using, linked or otherwise known as external style sheet. So when you create that, you are authoring your own style sheet, and authoring a style sheet will override whatever settings you put in. They will override the settings of the browser style sheet, the default style sheet.